Have you ever wondered how Uber handles ride matching and payment so smoothly? Let me tell you a little secret today. Uber uses an architectural pattern known as microservices architecture. Now, what is microservice? Microservice is an architectural pattern that structures an application as a collection of small, loosely coupled, and independently deployable services. Each microservice runs its own process and communicates through lightweight mechanisms like hypertext transfer protocol or messaging queues. In a microservice architecture, each service focuses solely on a single business responsibility. Services can be developed and scaled independently. Now, some of the top proponents of microservice architecture are Martin Fowler and James Lewis. Now, we need to look at some of the reasons why you should start using microservices architecture. Number one, using microservice architecture allows you to scale services independently. It enhances flexibility during development as different teams can work on different services using totally different technologies. It can help to increase fault tolerance in your system as failure in one service will not crash your entire system. It enables continuous integration and deployment. It is also very easy to troubleshoot or debug any major error in a microservice architecture. Now, even though using microservice has a lot of advantages, it also has its own disadvantages. Let's look at some of the demerits of microservices architecture. Firstly, it is very expensive to implement and manage. It can lead to high latency during inter-service communication as a result of poor network. It requires a serious technical expertise and broader knowledge of distributed systems. Integration and end-to-end testing can be very cumbersome in a microservice architecture. It may require comprehensive logging and monitoring across different services. Now, many large-scale companies are currently using microservices. Let's look at some of these companies. The first on my list is Netflix. Netflix handles millions of users with different independent services, such as recommendation services, billing services, and streaming services. Amazon uses microservices for product catalog, payment, and shipping. Uber has separate services for ride matching, payments, and notifications. Spotify currently manages playlists, user data, and music streaming independently using microservices pattern. LinkedIn is presently using microservices for profile management, messaging, and job recommendations. Now, let's look at some of the reasons why you should have a good knowledge of microservices architecture as a software engineer. There is presently a hot demand for engineers with sound knowledge of how to build systems using microservices architectural pattern. Microservices architecture works perfectly well with Docker, Kubernetes, and serverless computing. If you understand microservices architectural pattern very well, you will be able to design scalable and resilient applications. Knowledge of microservices is essential for your career advancement because it is a major requirement for backend, DevOps, and cloud roles. Knowledge of microservices gives you a clear understanding of system design principles, and it is also a common topic in technical interviews. Now, you can liken microservices architectures to a modern city. Alright? A modern city, aside from having residential buildings, also has other independent and specialized buildings that are dedicated for specific activities, such as banks for financial activities, hospital for taking care of the sick, school for educational purposes, and the rest. This is exactly the same way microservices has a different independent components with unique responsibilities. In summary, I think that understanding microservices is very crucial for modern software development. Microservice is the current standard for building scalable and maintainable applications, though it can be very complex to implement as it requires strong DevOps practices. Follow for more.